Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, we are going to be finishing up The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe with Allison.
Hello. Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, it's getting juicy.
It is
Things are
juicy.
happening.
As juicy as a 5th grade reading level can be, you know?
Truly, truly.
But I love it.
I found out during our little break, Nova told me that she has a lot of answers to the questions I asked in the first episode because they're answered in the rest of the series. So, good to know. Good to know.
Like I've said before,
Also,
I was only halfway through the second one, and I'm like, some of these things have got to come up later. Like,
yeah.
Because they've been mentioned too many times at this point.
Yeah, a good note is that we will be discussing the rest of the series over on the Novel Nostalgia podcast later this year. So make sure to follow at Novel Nostalgia Pod on Instagram and Twitter. I think it's on Twitter, it's Novel Nostal Pod, but I'll put some links in the description so you can find out whenever we cover that and watch me react to all of the answers I receive.
And I'm going to tune in at least in some capacity so that I can get my questions answered too.
Truly, truly. So we are on chapter 12, Peter's first battle. So they're taking this journey slower because they're like very weighed down by all of the food and items that Mrs. Beaver is making everybody carry.
Good thing they didn't bring that sewing machine, you know?
Truly. Those things are like really heavy. Like they're absurdly heavy.
I have my sewing machine here and it's in storage, and that thing could break a toe.
Yeah. My sewing machine is at my mother-in-law's house because we couldn't have it anywhere here. But that thing is so freaking heavy. Because I have an old Singer that Grandma found for me. Grandma and Grandpa found for me at like a garage sale.
Yeah, mine's heavy.
Yeah.
Does it come with a case? It's like this big clunky
Yeah,
thing.
It's got a case.
Yeah, it looks like a big old briefcase kind of thing. That's what mine looks like.
Yeah.
I have used it, but at this point, like I have to oil the entire machine if I want to use it again. And I live in 742 square feet.
Yeah.
So it's in the
I
storage
want
closet.
to use it. Yeah. I want to use it, but like I've never had enough space to be able to like bust it out, you know?
Right.
Because like my last apartment was like 700 square feet, and this one, like it would have to be in this bedroom, which our two computers are here. Like I don't have enough space. So, because I'm basically kind of confined to the same ish space, even though we're renting a house with roommates, because I don't want to like overflow into the kitchen and living room area, just because it's all common space there.
And a sewing machine isn't meant to be like packed up at all times, like, or take it out when you need it, kind of thing. It's usually stationed and ready to go. And I don't use mine enough, to be honest, but good thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I know if I busted it out, I'd have to like figure out how to oil it up because I don't know how to do that. So I'd have to probably call Grandma and be like, "Hey."
Oh, all the little spots are marked where you're supposed to oil it. It's not too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if it needs to be serviced, that's a whole other. Realm.
Yeah. Anyways, they didn't bring the sewing machine. Good plan. It'd probably get broken if they brought it. So. Because I can't imagine going on a hike. Well, they're like hiking, basically, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a terrible idea to bring the sewing machine.
I think it would be so heavy. I know it's like meant to be funny, but man, I would not. You cannot catch me carrying my sewing machine farther than the storage closet to the table.
Yeah. But they make it to the stone table. It's a beautiful sight. The beach is in the background. They're like, wow, this is a great place. We also have C.S. Lewis changing the names of dryads and naiads to tree woman and well woman, which is...
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Because he makes like a whole note where he's like, on the earth realm, or something like that, to that nature. He's like, we would call these dryads and naiads. I'm like, why change it then?
Oh, I missed that.
I just think his notes are funny.
I know, I like his little like side notes on this on the parentheses. Wow, I cannot speak today. Great day to be on a podcast.
It's fine. It's fine. We're making it work. So they're like sitting on the edge of the clearing, very terrified to talk to Aslan. But finally, Peter decides to lead the way. And he like busts out his sword. And I'm like, dude, that kind of looks like a threat. Like if you unsheath your sword and you just walk forward, like most kings would not be like, oh yeah, approach. Come closer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on a power trip still, though, I'm pretty sure, so.
Yeah. And then Aslan greets everybody by name. In this, though, he greets he beaver and she beaver. So there either is no other beavers, or these beavers just don't believe in having first names.
Or their first name is he and she.
And she. Maybe, but it makes me laugh because I'm like, we don't meet any other beavers. Like every other creature in this world is like part of a creature, except the two beavers. They're just Mr. Beaver and Mrs. Beaver.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't put that together either.
Yeah. But it's like we have Mr. Tumnus, the fawn, you know?
Oh my God.
All the wolves, you know, multiple squirrels, and then just Mr. Beaver and Mrs. Beaver.
Yeah, and there's aren't there cheetahs too, or did I?
Leopards.
Leopards, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world out in Narnia.
Truly. So then Aslan sends the girls away and like shows Peter where he's going to be king, which is a choice. And then he says, Peter, since you're the firstborn, you get to be High King over all your siblings. Like, if there's 4 thrones, can't they just, like, rule together? Like, do we really have to have a High King?
Well, I mean, you need a line of succession.
I guess, but I'm like...
I don't know. We're just trying to be prepared, I suppose.
I guess. I'm like, just make it work. I don't know. Rock, paper, scissors.
Hey, they're just going.
Maybe
with
it should just be
know.
like. Should just be like first grandkid gets to be ruler.
But that's still birth order.
I don't know, because they need 4 of them though. Like 4 humans have to sit on the throne.
Look, man, don't mess with the prophecy.
Yeah, all right, never mind. We'll bypass that. I don't know how that works. I don't know if any of them get to have kids. I don't know how this is. But so everybody's chilling, meeting Aslan, and then they're suddenly under attack by wolves. Just out the blue.
Good thing he pulled that sword out, man. Good thing.
Yeah, I guess. Like, he didn't have it stowed in his bag somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have Peter kills the wolf that was trying to get to Susan, who had climbed up into a tree and seemed like she was about to faint, even though she totally had a bow and arrow that she could have used, but, you know.
But the prince had to win his spurs.
Yeah. Like, apparently. So,
he says it.
Kills the wolf. Then Aslan sends everyone except the humans to go chase the wolves, and then he reminds Peter to always wipe his sword after he kills the wolf.
And Susan's fainting during this whole thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Or that she's like please. Fighting off fainting. I don't think she completely faints.
Yeah, he said that she like looks like she's about to faint. And I'm like, come on. Like, I get this is like a stressful time, but please get it together.
I mean, at least they don't make it so that Peter is just all of a sudden super brave and whatever. Like, he's terrified, so at least there's some humility there.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that, like, he has to then be given a note about wiping your sword clean.
Yeah, I don't really... Maybe this is some sort of... When you talk with Nova, all these questions will be answered.
Yeah. I feel like that's a rust situation, though. Like, if you don't clean your sword, it rusts, right?
Yeah, but this was given to him from Santa. Do you think that blade rusts? I don't think so.
I don't know.
That's what I would expect from Santa. I want the best.
Yeah. Stainless steel only.
It's like the Goblin Blade in Harry Potter.
Yep.
One of these days I'll stop bringing up Harry Potter into every episode, but
it's fine.
It works
it's fine.
Most of the time.
So then we are on to chapter 13, Deep Magic from the Dawn of Time. So we're back with Edmund, and the witch is saying something about 3 thrones instead of 4, and then I realized the way she's saying this is because she's planning to now kill Edmund before they can take him back, and then the prophecy can't be fulfilled because there'll only be 3 of them.
Yep.
And I'm like, go off, I guess.
Yep. Edmund is really questioning his decisions now.
Yeah. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna die. This is not part of my plan.
I just have to constantly remind myself that he's a child. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
It's really easy to forget, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, it's written very much for a child, but man, Edmund, did you really think?
Yeah.
Obviously, like we said before, the Turkish delight is bewitched, and he was under some sort of like spell of temptation. Yeah. So.
But still, get it together, guy.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing.
So the other wolf reports back to the witch and she tells him to run and summon all of their people. They list out like a ton of different species.
What are boggles?
I didn't write them all down.
What are boggles? That's one of
I don't know.
Ghouls, boggles, ogres, and the minotaurs.
Yeah.
Oh, the hags, the specters. Mm-hmm. I don't know what some of these things are. And the people of the toadstools, which I want those to be in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Toad from Mario.
Yeah, me too. I know specters are like ghosts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is a boggle? Let's look it up.
I don't know what that is. I know a hag is a witch.
Clearly. Okay, what is a boggle? Boggle is... Okay, I clearly need to be a little bit more mythical.
Mythology, maybe? Yeah.
It's a ghost or folkloric being. Okay.
So ghost and more ghost and another type of ghost, kind of.
I guess it's a Scottish term?
Oh.
Oh, I guess this... Oh, it kind of goes along with what in English folklore is a boggart. Which is...
That makes sense.
Which we know from Harry Potter. Okay, so I'm seeing boggle and boggart being like... It seems like it's interchangeable. But it looks like boggle is more... This is a Scots term, so I would assume that means Scottish. Yeah, a terrifying ghost or phantom. Okay. There you go. Now we know.
Yeah, so she gets all the ghosts. That's pretty cool.
Where are the people of the toadstools, though?
Literally, that's what I want to know what that is.
It's just
because that's
just Toad.
Great. Yeah,
Toad from Mario
Come
Kart.
on, Mario.
Does Toad even talk?
In the Mario movie, he does.
I haven't seen that. I heard it was very good.
It's so good. It's very good. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
I heard everybody was like disappointed in how much they liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be awful. Because they didn't have like anybody that was... Well, they didn't really have any real voice actors. Like, they just had big names. So I was like, this is going to be terrible because nobody's going to care about it. Except Jack Black. Jack Black puts his whole heart into everything he does, I feel like.
Who does he play? Who does Jack Black play?
Bowser.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
A lot of people were ticked about Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be... I was ticked until I saw it. And I'm like, fine. This is fine.
Everybody's like, he is not an Italian.
Yeah. Yeah. So they bind Edmund to a tree and they're like, this is fine. And I thought they were going to leave him there. No. She turns to the dwarf and it's like, prepare him. And I'm like, what do you mean prepare him? Prepare him for what? Like, what are you about to do? And then he hears a knife being sharpened, and I'm like, oh my god. And then the dwarf like breaks his like collar to like expose his neck. I'm like, she is about to slit his throat. Oh my god.
No, I was like, whoa, this went. We took
Yeah.
a turn here.
180.
We are on
Truly.
page 73 in my copy anyway, and
Yeah.
of 107 or something. And
Yeah.
we're just all of a sudden it is not a children's book.
Literally. So then like upheaval happens. They save Edmund. Thank goodness.
And
But the witch
they
gets
give him some
away.
wine. Give him some wine. He'll
Yep.
be okay.
And he like passes out. And then everybody carries Edmund away. They realize the witch must have got away. And then C.S. Lewis does this whole thing where he's like, oh, so if they would have stayed a little longer, they would have solved that boulder and that stump were like talking to each other. And yeah, that's actually the witch and the dwarf. So
I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
yeah.
I just thought about it, and I was thinking about that part in like Toy Story 2 when they're underneath the little cones.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm just imagining like out the blue a stump and a boulder appear and nobody questions anything.
And they like having little cartoon eyes.
Yeah.
I just thought it was such a funny visual. I was like, what?
Yeah. So Aslan and Edmund are walking, and we don't get to hear their conversation because C.S. Lewis did not want to write it, which is fine.
I respect that so much from him, dude. We just get to the point.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like, I'm imagining that parents read chapter by chapter at night to their kids, and like if they had to have like this whole long, drawn out story about forgiveness for a little too long, like the kid's gonna get too invested. The parent's not gonna get this kid to sleep. Like,
but
I respect it.
I also think it's kind of a nice little life lesson too. Like we're looking at it from the perspective of all the nitty gritty doesn't matter at this point. He's back, and we don't need to talk about it beyond that. Like,
yeah,
he's sorry, and we forgive and move on. So
yeah,
it's kind of smart that way too.
I like that Aslan's like, don't pressure him about our conversation. Let that stay between us. Don't worry about it, and let's move on.
And they're just a like respect, you know.
Yeah. So Edmund apologizes to every one of his siblings, and then immediately after this, the dwarf rolls up, and he's like, "My queen would like to have a conversation with you." You know,
yep.
With just us, like just the two of you. And then Aslan's like, "Fine, but to do that, you're gonna have to leave. She's gonna have to leave her wand at like an oak tree." Because I don't want her like coming in here and turning everybody to stone.
Fair.
Oh, but the Aslan does call the dwarf son of the earth, so I was pleased.
Oh, good. Oh, yes, I see it.
Yeah.
You were so upset about that. So now are you better?
A little. It's still not like a ancestral name, but like I'll allow it for now.
I kind of hope that these end up building on each other and they get a little bit beefier. But I love this as just a story for kids. It's sweet.
Yeah. I do like that this is like it doesn't have a cliffhanger at the end. So like again, I'm imagining like parents reading this to kids, like the kid is not going to be begging for the next book immediately. You know what I mean?
Or
like
they could
nice rounded out.
Yeah, and then they'd be satisfied with what they heard then, and if they want to know another adventure, you go on another adventure and read the next one.
Yeah. Because I feel like each chapter doesn't really end on a cliffhanger. Like it's just a part of the story. And like when it ends, you're comfortable with where you're at until the next chapter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Where it's not like and then they saw battle. End chapter.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. I think it's constructed well for the purposes of a young child reading a chapter book. This has got to be like one of your early chapter book series that you could get into, and each one is so short that it's manageable.
Yeah. So then the witch is approved safe passage on this condition, and she shows up like 5 minutes later after he sends the two leopards to make sure she actually puts the wand down before coming back, which is good. So then the witch and Aslan are meeting in front of everyone, and Mrs. Beaver notices that the witch will not look him in the eyes, which is a respectable choice.
Yeah.
A respectable little detail.
But that's because she is Satan.
Yep. So then the witch says that Edmund is a traitor against Aslan. Aslan's like, yeah, I don't care.
Well, and then there's an important line where he says Edmund had got past thinking about himself after all he'd been through, and after the talk he had that morning, he went on looking at Aslan. It didn't seem to matter what the witch said. And I was like, growth! Preach!
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So the witch says, she asks Aslan if he has forgotten the deep magic. And he's like, why don't you just tell me anyways? Which is a nice way to get it so that we, as a reader, get to find out what the deep magic is.
Well, and this is the point where I think we can finally mention that the stone table, because she says it's written on the stone table. So the stone table is actually supposed to represent the 10 Commandments, like Old Testament, old magic, and the breaking of the stone is like going into the New Testament, which we get into later. But I think this is the point where we can finally mention that, because before it was just kind of like alluded to.
What's that Monty Python movie where he drops the 12 Commandments and he's like, I mean the 10 Commandments.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
God, I can't remember. It's one of the Monty Python movies. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's something like My Brother something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. We could look it up sometime.
It's fine, but that's what I think about anytime someone talks about the 10 Commandments, is that single scene from Monty Python.
Gosh, now I kind of want to know. Oh, it's not that. No, it's not Monty Python. It's that Mel Brooks movie, History of the World. I actually just watched this. I don't think I finished it.
I'm glad we fixed that, because I feel like I would have gotten some messages.
I think.
Which is fine, but.
Is that the. Yes, because he breaks the third one and then he ends up with just 10.
10.
Because it's 15 before. Yeah, I actually just watched that. My in-laws were in town. They put it on and they were like, "Oh, this is a lot more." I mean, it's Mel Brooks, so you kind of know what to expect. But they were like, "Wow, this is a little bit more raunchy and like not PC than I remembered." Yeah. So I don't think we ended up finishing it, but it just is. I don't know. It's funny though, not because it was too raunchy or something. I think we were. I don't know. We just didn't end up finishing it. But yes, that's what that's from. I was going to say, I was like, is that Monty Python? But
I don't know why I thought it was Monty Python, to be honest.
I totally believed you for a second. I think that because Monty Python does go into the Bible a decent bit, but...
Yeah. So...
Watch everybody be like, she's wrong.
We find... One of us has to be correct here. I don't know. One of us.
I think it's History of the World. I think it's...
That feels right. So, I'm going to choose to believe you.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let us know if we're wrong. Yeah. I'm always willing to hear if I'm wrong.
It's fine. If someone tweets me that I'm wrong, I will announce it for everybody so that we all know the right movie. But then the queen, like, kind of fills us in about how she gets to kill every traitor and they all belong to her, and then Mr. Beaver calls her the Emperor's hangman. So we find out the Emperor, who has been here since time itself, is basically God.
Right, because don't they call him like Emperor of the Sea? or something. Maybe that's in the next book.
No,
Maybe I'm messing it up. Yeah, Emperor Beyond the
they
Sea.
just, yeah.
Because that's who Aslan, like, quote, answers to.
Yeah. So then the witch says that unless she has Edmund, that all of Narnia will perish in fire and water, according to the deep magic. Which, like, being perished in fire and water is so contradictory, but, like, go off, queen.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means,
Don't know how that would
but
work.
maybe that's
Yeah.
something a concept I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
I thought about
Like, is
that
it, like,
too.
supposed to be, like, a Noah's Ark reference?
I
don't know.
Let's see. Perish in fire.
And water, Bible.
Everyone's gonna be like, did she know anything about this book before she asked her to come on?
It's fine. You have to remember, I feel like I doubt most of my audience is Christian, so it's fine.
I can't tell if it's just, I think it's alluding to the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not seeing the exact, I would have to do a deeper search. Just like my quick search here, it looks like it's alluding to the Bible.
Just pull up the Bible, Control F, fire, Control F.
I mean, I think
water.
it's because, like, throughout the Bible, they talk about perishing in fire and
brimstone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's fine. If it's important, somebody will let us know.
Bible.com. Hang on.
There you go.
There is a verse in Peter that says, "Then he used water to destroy the ancient world with a mighty flood," like what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And by the same word, the present heavens and earth have been stored up for fire. They are being kept for the day of judgment, when ungodly people would be destroyed.
Okay.
This is from the book of Peter. In the New Living, that was from the New Living Translation of the Bible. That's just the first one that popped up. Yeah, so it would be alluding to that, if I had to guess.
So there you go.
So there you go.
There you go. So then Aslan tells everybody to leave so that he can talk to the witch alone, which he loves to do that, I guess. He likes to talk to people alone, which is fine.
He's got some private conversations to be had, you know?
Yeah. So this is an A-B conversation. See your way out of it. So then Aslan calls everyone back and says that she has renounced her claim on Edmund's blood. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to get the die for our sins moment here.
Oh my gosh.
So whatever their agreement is, the witch asks how she'll know he will keep his promise. And then he roars at her and she sprints out of there. And I would also sprint out of there.
Fairly ran for her life, which I thought was a very funny visual.
Yeah. So then we are on to chapter 14, The Triumph of the Witch. Aslan says that they're moving camp to the fords of Bruna.
I do think that those come up again, because they get alluded to in the next book as some sort of battle. But I haven't read that part yet, and I'm not very, like I've said, I'm not very far in this entire series. Yeah. So I think that comes up again.
So Aslan is giving Peter all of his plans, and Peter's like, dude, are you not going to be there? Like, what's going on? And Aslan's like, may or may not. Uncertain at this point.
I don't know how the rest of them don't put this together for some reason.
Literally. Like, I mean, I'm assuming these kids growing up in what seems like early 1900s England are probably Christian.
I would assume so. I would assume they're Christian.
So, like, would you not also assume that they would be a little familiar with the dying for our sins kind of thing? Or,
well, I mean, you have to think about all their behaviors are supposed to be, like, for each child, are supposed to be a reflection of their faith, right? Like, Narnia and Aslan are all, you know, symbols of heaven and Jesus, and the way that they approach that situation is supposed to be reflective of their stance in their faith.
Mm-hmm.
So it's changing. Like Susan is always so like, maybe we should leave. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Peter's high and mighty, and Lucy is just a pure believer, and Edmund just makes mistakes. At least in this novel.
Yeah.
This story.
Yeah. So then Aslan's like is seeming real sad. He's trying to make camp. And he's like makes camp kind of out in the open, and Peter's like, shouldn't we like go into the woods so she doesn't find us? And he's like, oh, she's not gonna find us tonight. I'm like, buddy, why are you not like questioning anything? Like,
he probably just
if
doesn't
he's
want.
okay.
He probably just doesn't want to believe it, right? You're probably just.
I don't know.
Hoping to stay in blissful ignorance and in denial, I would think.
I don't know. Who knows? So then Lucy and Susan are starting to like, when they go to bed, start having like this terrible feeling about Aslan. So they're like, let's just go check on him, see if he's okay. And they find him walking out of the woods in the middle of the night. And they're like, huh. So they start following him until they get to a point where they can't like hide in the trees anymore. And Aslan spots them and he's like, hey, what's up? What y'all doing? And they're like, we're just trying to check on you, make sure you're doing okay. And he's like, okay, well, you can walk with me, but there's a point where I'm going to tell you to turn back and like not continue, and at that point you're going to have to listen to me.
This
so
is definitely reflective of the Bible in this moment, with praying up on them and them coming with being there with him,
because like he was talking about like how it seemed like there's a big weight on his shoulders, and I'm like, well, I know what this is about. And then how he trips, because doesn't like Jesus trip?
Jesus falls. Yeah, Jesus falls while carrying the cross.
Yeah. So I was like, well, there we go. Yeah.
Yep. So some clear symbolism there.
Yeah. I'm shocked how much of my knowledge of like having to go to church as a kid has been like remembered.
I mean, if there's anything you should remember, though, it would be the Stations of the Cross, or just the story of the Passion as a whole, just because that's like one of the biggest things of the Christian faith. So, that should be the thing that sticks with you. Probably the most repetitive thing. Plus, if you've ever been to a Palm Sunday Mass, I'm Catholic, and Catholics go through the entire Passion and have to say the part when they're like, crucify him. Like the whole church says that part. You basically like read out the script. So it's hard to forget that.
Fair. But yeah, Aslan says that he's like super sad and lonely and asked them to put their hands on his mane for good vibes.
For good vibes? Oh my gosh, can you imagine if that was the wording in the book?
Yeah. I my notes I tend to read them verbatim, and I forget what I write sometimes. So that was a clear example of that. Is that it's just exactly what I wrote.
Yeah.
But the girls were like very pumped about this because they really wanted to like touch his mane anyways the whole time. They just thought it was rude.
I know, they're secretly kind of excited about it.
Yeah. I just think that's so funny because like, I don't know, as someone with like kind of wavy hair, people always like crave to touch my hair, and I despise when people touch my hair. Like it like gives me the ick.
No one wants to touch my hair. Maybe that says something about me. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know why people like want to touch other people's hair. Like I despise it so much. I wouldn't mind like if somebody like brushes my hair. You don't like somebody brushing your hair?
I hate when people like even get near my hair.
Interesting. Hey, to each
I have like a hard time. Like I like when somebody else, like when Caitlin does my hair, but I hate my feeling of someone doing my hair. Like I know it's gonna look good, so it's worth it to sit through it, and that's why I'll ask her to do it sometimes. But like I am actively repulsed by the feeling of someone touching my hair.
See, I love like when someone braids my hair or something. or like obviously like I keep saying see I said that word again. Like when somebody pushes back your hair or something.
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Teach their own though.
The girls make it there with Aslan, and he's like, all right, you guys gotta hide now and don't come out. And he goes up to the stone table with the witch and all of her groupies.
Her groupies.
And
why did I never think about it that way? That's funny.
I mean, this is pretty much what's going on, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they drag Aslan to the stone table, and she demands that he is shaved, that like basically they muzzle him, they beat him a bunch, and then they like chain him to the table.
Oh, and then they say, sorry, I want to interrupt you, but there was there's a quote in here that I thought was just another precious C.S. Lewis moment, but other creatures whom I won't describe, because if I did, the grown-ups probably would not let you read this book.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that was so pure. Watch us find out that C.S. Lewis is like a real jerk or something.
I don't know. I don't know enough about him to know
Me either.
He is or not.
Me either, but I'm
So
I hope not. I hope he is as pure as I think he is, because I kind of love him.
I'm so terrified, like sometimes just not knowing things, to like do like a whole recording and then later being like, ah, crap.
I know. Well, you gotta just leave some room for I may be wrong, but I hope he is as sweet as I think he is in my head.
Yeah.
Or was, I should say was.
Which, like, feel free to tell me if he's not. It's fine. Like, I'm an adult. I'll just...
Hey, it's not your fault if somebody that used to be alive used to be a jerk.
Yeah. Like, secret terrible person.
But I hope not, because I love the way he talks. It's so precious. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know that technically at this point, Harry Potter's a bit of a modern classic, but I will never cover it on this podcast because J.K. Rowling sucks. So, you know.
See, and that's one of those things that it's like, when she wrote the books, I hope she wasn't that, I don't know. You never know. People change too.
Yeah.
But there are some elements of the story that have been pointed out since, and you're like, oh, yeah, that is kind of bad. But like when you read them when you're a kid, you're like, you know, whatever. I mean, it's still one of my favorite series. Probably my favorite series, just because it's so nostalgic and it just makes me so happy. I don't know. I love that series. Yeah. Clearly, I bring it up a lot, so.
I know. It's just never going to be something I'll cover on here just because of how she is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand that.
So, fun fact, apparently C.S. Lewis gave away all of the royalties from his books.
Really?
Yeah. He said he set up a charitable trust to give away whatever money he received from all of his books.
Cute. Well, and that would explain why they're readily available for schools.
The witch says that he has given his life for Edmund's now that he's gone, and then he she whispers to Aslan that now that he's gone and out of the way, she's still gonna kill Edmund, and he can't stop her, and then kills Aslan.
It was so sad, and I also think like the shaving and the beating and all that is supposed to be indicative of passion as well. But when I watched, like I said before, I had just recently watched the movie before I read this, and when I watched the movie, I was like, I gasped. I forgot they shaved him and beat him, and I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is a children's movie. Like, I don't know. It wasn't that brutal, and they don't show it really in the thing. We'll talk about it when we do the movie. But I was like, oh my goodness. And then she says that to him in here, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, this is the first chapter where I'm like, yeah, you couldn't have just ended it there. Like, you'd have to be like, all right, play the next episode. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And I feel like the movie kind of just like, well, I mean, the movie shows quite a bit too. But I think you just get so... I got put in this mindset it's for a child, and then when things like this happen, I'm like, oh my goodness, like, should it be like that? But you know what? That's how you make the story a little bit more gritty and feeling and powerful for a child. So as long as it's not too descriptive for that age group, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. Then we're on to chapter 15, Deeper Magic from Before the Dawn of Time.
It's a very long chapter name.
So,
by the way.
Yeah, literally. The witch is coming for everybody else. No idea why Aslan thought that she would hold up to her end of the bargain. Like, she immediately turns around and is like, all right, let's go kill everybody.
I'm telling you, I don't know what child's mindset I was in, but like I was kind of like, oh my goodness, she's so mean.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she was going to do that. She's the devil, but... or represents the devil. But for some reason I was still kind of like, oh my goodness. Heartless.
Literally the worst.
I'm okay with still being
and then
shook up about evil, you know? Shook up. That's not a word. What?
I guess it is. Shook.
Shaken up. Shaken up.
Shaken up. There you
Wait.
go. I don't know. Shook is...
So I was shook.
Shook is past tense. Yeah, there you go.
Shaken up, I feel like. I feel like it's shaken up.
I don't know. I feel like either are correct.
Now we gotta look it up and then I'll say the right thing.
Because it's like, you were shook.
Yeah, but shook is like...
Is shook like slang for shocked?
Okay, shaken is past participle, so I would have been...
Okay.
I would have been shaken up. I would have been shaken. Shaken.
Okay. I guess shook must be just like slang then.
Shook is just like the past tense of he shook my hand.
Okay.
It's like slang for people who are saying that, you know.
Like surprised?
Right. But I was just saying it like, so we'll say it this way. It shook me.
There you go.
I don't know. I guess I was just in this like innocent mindset when I read the book. And I knew it was coming, but I still was just kind of like, oh gosh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
But that's the point. It's to make you understand the power of the message.
Yep. So when the army left, the girls run up to Aslan, take the muzzle off, and they like start kissing and hugging his dead body. I'm like, that's kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like,
he just died. He just died. He's not rotting in a sewer.
Yeah, but like, there's blood all over him.
No, we don't know that. Do we? Oh,
I mean,
yes, they
she
wiped
like
away
slit
the
his
blood.
throat.
They wiped away the blood.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, like it's a dead body. I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of gross, but...
Yeah, but he's supposed to represent Jesus, so they can love him. He just died this morning.
Yeah. Fair enough, but like...
Fair enough.
So then, like, out the blue, these mice crawl up Aslan's body, and my first brain thought was, that's like really fast decomposition, but you know, that's not what's happening.
I know, I just watched the movie, just like I said, and I still forgot about the mice, and I was, oh, gross, and then I was like, oh, never mind. It's, for some reason, it still got me. I missed it, apparently, the first time in the movie.
But the mice go and untie him, and then, like, the sun rises up, the two girls are pacing around, which I was like, why are you still there? Like, shouldn't you go warn everybody, you know, that, like, the witch is coming after them? Would that not be the play?
Well, and then there's a little sad line about them crying all night with him, too. And then he has the thing of, like, I hope no one who reads this book has been quite as miserable as Susan and Lucy were that night. I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sad. It has, like, the line keeps going and it's kind of sweet, but...
I wonder at what point he wrote that. Like, it was pre-losing his wife or after?
Well, let me tell you. She died in 1960, so she was still alive. He wasn't even married yet.
Okay. Oh. I mean, I know, like, honestly, most people deal with loss pretty early on, you know? So I feel like you kind of No. Like, enough that, like, after you, like, bawl your eyes out and there's no more tears, there's just, like, that weird quiet, which he describes.
Right, that's
And
that's
I
the
think
rest of
that's a
that
really
line.
nice touch.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought it was such a sweet thing, like for a young kid to read about grief in a pretty simple,
Mm-hmm.
plain, but thoughtful way.
Yeah. So then, they're, like, doing laps around this area, and out of the blue, when the sun rises, there's a giant crack behind them. They turn around. Aslan's body's gone. The stone table's in two pieces on the ground. And then they're like, what? And then they turn back around towards the sunset. Aslan's just standing there looking beautiful and perfect.
Hey,
And my note
that is
is,
alluding to that New Testament Christ coming back.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can imagine is, like, the priest when I was growing up being like, he has risen.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
I
it's
know.
that dramatic
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
I want to know, what is the voice that you picture for Aslan? Do you remember what he sounds like in the movie, or do you have a different voice in your head?
I don't know what movie Morgan Freeman was God, but it's
Almighty.
always Morgan Freeman.
Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be so good if his voice was Morgan Freeman.
It's always Morgan Freeman.
Whenever
the there's a God
good.
role.
In the movie, the choice is
yeah.
good. Do you want to
I
know?
don't remember his voice at all.
Do you want to know?
To be honest. I mean, I'm going to find out tomorrow, so.
True.
Yeah.
That one's a good choice. I feel like I want it to be like Dwayne Johnson. But then he's too much like Maui. Then it's...
I have a hard time with... I love The Rock, but he's always just The Rock. You know what I mean? In
True.
everything he's in.
Can't really...
Yeah.
I kind of just want to see him in... Like, that'd be kind of funny. Or if it was something just a little bit more unpredictable.
Do you want it to be, like, kind of unhinged?
Like... Not like a deep grizzly voice. There'll be something different. That would have been just kind of an interesting...
Oh my god, what if it was Vin Diesel? What if it was Vin Diesel?
Talking about family.
Vin Diesel needs to be in more movies, to be honest. I'm obsessed with him.
Dude, he's kind of got that grizzly voice too. I'm talking about doing something a little bit more...
soft.
Yeah, something...
Yeah.
Like Tom Hiddleston or something.
Ooh.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. I would love Todd Hiddleston. Tom. Jesus Christ. I would love Tom Hiddleston to, like, do a series of, like, bedtime stories, because I feel like he just has, like, such a beautiful, calming voice. That and Gwendolyn Christie, her voice.
I don't know her voice.
She is... Did you see... How much of Game of Thrones did you see?
I did not get very far. I got through...
Okay.
Like the first couple seasons, maybe? I don't know if I finished season 2. Yeah. It's a lot of hours. Like it's a lot.
Yeah. She's in a lot of, like, fantasy stuff. Did you watch The Sandman on Netflix?
I did. Yes.
She plays Lucifer. The blonde lady.
She's in Game of Thrones.
Very tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. You just said she was in Game of Thrones, but now I am making the connection. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her voice.
Yeah, she's...
I want her to read me audiobooks.
I think that Tom Hiddleston does something for that Calm app or something, or like one of those things where he reads, like, I swear I saw something where he was, like, reading Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my god.
Maybe I'm mixing this up. I'm gonna look it up. I'm always looking stuff up all around.
I know she has read some books on Audible, because you can, like, search by voice actors on there. Mm-hmm. I found out. So I know she's got some, and I'm willing to, like, get those.
Yes, Tom Hiddleston has drift off to sleep while Tom Hiddleston reads you Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah.
So pure.
His voice is so calming and, like, Yeah, no, that'd be good.
That would be a good choice. I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
We'll have to, when we do the movie, we should just pick out our dream mental cast, and then we'll talk
our
about
fan cast.
Yeah, fan cast, and then we will compare it to the real deal. But that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, back to where we were. I just had to know what you were picturing his voice. I don't know. I feel like it's important for some reason.
Yeah, it's fine. It's usually, if it's gonna be God, it's always Morgan Freeman.
That is a fair choice. He plays a great God. Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie. It's always that all white room in his all white outfit. Morgan Freeman's still alive, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I wasn't prepared if you said no. I'm gonna be so real.
God, whenever somebody does something like this, though, like I'm like, I better check. I'm constantly fact checking myself.
It's fine.
That'd be so sad.
It helps the pod.
He's definitely still alive.
Yeah, we're gonna cry really quick if we find out he's actually dead. For some reason, after Aslan comes back to life, he decides to like play and chase the girls around, which is, again, a choice. Truly.
Well, and then there was a thing about that when they finally all lay together in the sun, the girls no longer felt in the least tired or hungry or thirsty, and that is definitely a biblical reference of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Satiating, being the bread of life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Important. I gotta get some of the symbolism in here, otherwise people are gonna think I have no idea what any of this book means.
Yep, it's fine.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're noticing more than I obviously would.
Hey, that's what I'm here for, just to point out some things that we might be missing, and then you'll get to learn more as you get further in the series and learn more from others.
Yeah. So then he has the girls on his back so that he can run faster. And then they're off after playing around for a minute, which, like, I guess when you come back to life, that's something you should probably do. But I still think it's kind of funny.
Riding on the back of a lion.
What a vibe.
What a
honestly.
vibe. But also, how fast can lions run? That would be...
He's a magical lion. It's fine.
That'd be pretty uncomfortable, I feel like.
Yeah. Like, they're not as fast as cheetahs. So they're definitely... But I feel like they're probably at like 50 miles an hour. Cheetahs are like top speed 77.
Okay, 50 miles an hour.
I was right? Is
that what you said?
Yeah.
So a cheetah can go from 50 to 80. A lion's max speed in short bursts would be 50 miles an hour. And he's...
I mean, he's covering a lot of ground.
He's a male, so he could probably do a little long.
I don't know. No, the females are the hunters, remember?
Oh, so can they run better?
The males were lazy.
Oh, who's faster, a lioness or a lion? Oh, you're right. Lionesses are more agile. My mistake.
Yeah, the males are lazy. They don't do shit.
I watched the whole thing on lions once, and they have a very interesting day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, they are a magical lion, but I'm just thinking, like, so when I had a moped in college, this is what I'm comparing riding a lion to.
Yeah.
That thing could hit 45, but it was kind of a struggle, and that was fast.
Yeah.
Honestly. I don't have a motorcycle, so this is what I'm gonna compare it to is my college moped days. Good time.
Well, I have a scooter, like an electric scooter.
Oh right.
I think technically you can hit like 30. And I went like 25 on it once, and it was freaking terrifying. But I also don't have a seat, so
yeah, that makes it a lot more stressful. I mean, if you do anything, so if you ride on a moped and you have nothing to block your face, when it's raining or something, and you're going 45, that hurts.
Yeah,
like the rain hurts your face. All these people that have motorcycles are like, yeah, I know, but.
Literally.
But like that's my only experience I have to draw on with this, and I'm like, dang, two people, someone's riding bitch too. I don't like that expression.
Yeah.
Like someone's on the back and
Yeah.
I don't know. That can't be comfortable. But you're right. He is a magical lion, so I think that all base of knowledge just gets thrown out.
Well, I've also heard people refer to it as backpacking or their backpack as like their second rider's their backpack. And I think that's a lot cuter.
That's a lot cuter. Yeah, let's just pretend I didn't say that. That's the only way I've ever heard it, but I like the way you said it a lot better.
But yeah, no, I feel like this is just not comfortable and not good setup.
But magical lions, so
magical lion. Maybe they have like saddles and magical when you're riding a magical lion. I don't know.
I mean, that would be still kind of cool. Be kind of cool, but also kind of terrifying. There's just no way it's comfortable. That's all I gotta say.
But there's also like no prep. Like they've never ridden anything, as far as we know, before. And they just are going straight to magical lion, going probably 80 miles per hour.
Well, and then, okay, so he describes it as noiseless patting of the paws and the soft roughness of golden fur, and then imagine going twice as fast as the fastest racehorse. So what's the fastest racehorse?
It's also like, what are they holding on to? His hair? His mane?
I think so.
Like, that kind of hurt. That's also like not a good grip, I feel like.
Okay, so racehorses are generally trained to reach speeds up to 40 to 45 miles an hour. So if you figure, so the fastest...
So they're going like 100.
Secretariat was the fastest race horse ever.
Mm-hmm.
How fast was Secretariat? Held an average speed of 37.8 miles an hour, but I don't know about...
So we're going to just generously assume that they're going like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, that would be like the safe bet. So imagine me on my little moped going 45 thinking that was wild and then just doubling it. No helmet.
Yeah.
No helmet. Only hair to hold on to.
Yeah, no. They're like raw dogging life right now. They basically put these two little kids on a motorcycle and said, figure it out. Hold on. Hope.
And he's like jumping over bushes and stuff. Holy cow, this is extreme.
Yeah. This could be a ride at Universal.
Why isn't it? Well, it's Disney, so
I don't know.
It would have to be Disney.
Oh. Well, Disney doesn't really do those kinds of extra rides. Like, I feel like the most extra ride at Disney is Space Mountain.
Have you ever been on the teacup ride?
I mean, you're right.
Actually, you know what's so fun is the Buzz Lightyear one, but that's a different story for a different time.
Yeah, I don't really... Oh, I do remember that. I had to think about it.
Yeah, the little
laser
so gun
years since I've been to Disney. Yeah. But Aslan then decides to like bust into the witch's house and jumps fully over the walls of her palace.
While they're on his back.
Yeah, like this is probably at least a 2-story wall, if it's a decent wall at all.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, she's home. Let's jump the wall. My God.
Yeah. So then we are on to chapter 16. What happened about the statues? Aslan is breathing on all the statues, and everyone is becoming real again, which is lovely.
Don't forget about those picnickers, though.
I know. I hope he gets back to them, because I need them to be okay.
That one squirrel still has a fork halfway to his mouth. Go get him.
I hope he gets to finish his bite. Yeah.
That poor thing. I think it was a squirrel.
I feel like the food now smells like Aslan's breath, though, so maybe not as appetizing.
Hey, he is supposed to be godly, so maybe it's great. Maybe it's great.
Maybe it's like nectar, or what is that other thing that like gods get to eat?
Oh, I don't know. You're more versed in that kind of stuff than me.
I don't remember. My brain's saying rosacea, and I know that's fully wrong.
No, that's not it.
That's not it. But it has to be like a synonym of that. I hate how my brain works sometimes, but it's fine.
It's all right.
Nectar and something. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Hopefully it smells like that though, so it's not as gross. And then everyone is hunting through the house to make sure there's no more prisoners. And they get Mr. Tumnus, which is great. They also free a giant, and this giant knocks down the gate so that everybody can get out. And he's like, stand back. And then he like swings his club. And then they take a like good minute to discuss how dumb giants are. And I'm like, can we chill? Can we
That's
relax?
like a common theme in fantasy though, right? Like I feel like they're always kind of stupid. At least they get portrayed chill that way.
Yeah. I like, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves with like common high fantasy things is that like they make humans the top of the food chain at all times. I'm like, could we like not, like, could we just like appreciate that other civilizations can exist? Maybe.
I mean, that is, here I go, Harry Potter, but that is the whole point of Harry Potter, is that maybe we shouldn't be so racist. That whole thing is a book about genocide of, you know, not being of pure blood or not being, I mean, like, think about how disrespectful they are to centaurs and house elves. And
that's the worst part is that, like, that book was so good, and then she had to ruin it by being a terrible person. I'm like, you were there, you were one of us, and then you ruined it.
Right.
Yeah. Ugh. But that's just like my personal pet peeve with high fantasy is that like I wish they would just let everybody be everybody and just respect it a little bit. But that's a whole podcast episode in itself if I get too much into that. So we'll just skip on over that.
Okay, back to the book.
Yeah. Lucy tries to give the giant a handkerchief, but it's like absurdly small. It's basically the size of like a Thin Mint. And he's like, thanks, but this is not really gonna work out for me. So anybody that's small has to be put on the back of a runner, basically, and they're gonna go defeat the queen before bedtime.
Adorable visual. Adorable. Yeah. We have to beat the witch before bedtime. Tell me this isn't a bedtime story. This is so cute.
It really is.
It's so cute.
These last couple of chapters, though, like, you'd have to be prepared to start reading this to your kid like an hour before bed starts, because like to get through this, they're not gonna want to like stop the next night. I feel like it just gets really juicy.
Yeah, but so you have to, like, that's about teaching your children patience.
Yeah, fair. You're the one that's having kids, not me. So.
Well,
one day, I feel like
we'll see.
Yeah. But they come up to like this whole battle unfolding, and at the center, Peter is facing off with the witch. So Aslan sees this. He's like, ladies, if you don't mind getting off my back, please.
Step aside, girls.
Yeah. And then they like get off from him, and he jumps into the battle, flings himself onto the witch immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are at chapter 17, the hunting of the white stag. So, witch officially dead. Pretty much everybody on her team, like most of them died, or they surrendered, or they ran for the hills.
Before bedtime.
But like the hard part I have about this, the hard part I have about this is that like some people were in their service because they felt like they didn't have another choice. And like, I don't know. Like, we already forgave Edmund and Mr. Tumnus. And like later we get into like in a few notes down the thing, we get into the fact that like they hunt down everybody in her service. And I don't know. I just feel like a little weird about that.
But I think it's the difference between like a single mistake versus like repeated loyalty.
Yeah, I feel like some people were like forced. They felt like they didn't have another choice. I don't know.
Maybe this is answered in other. Maybe this is answered in other novels that, or you know, other books in the series that we haven't gotten that we haven't reached yet.
I just hope there's a hearing. Like if she was holding this like some of these people's entire family hostage, that they like get a fair trial. You know.
I know. Like the Nuremberg trials of Narnia.
Yeah.
Pretty
I don't know
much.
what the Nuremberg trials are, to be honest.
Oh, it's about the Nazis.
Oh, okay.
Little
I
dark.
feel like
Little dark.
yeah. I like sometimes I forget how much Florida education failed me.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
then I'm like, what was that? Well, the hard part is I went into that ACE program, so they assumed we knew a lot more than we did. So there was like a big gap in a lot of our education because they assumed we would have heard about it, and then like nobody filled us in on anything.
Well, that's like one of
And
the biggest things of the argument for following orders versus
yeah,
just making poor choices.
yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of the people that were on trial were saying stuff like, "Well, I was just following orders."
yeah.
So could get a
I'm
little
just hoping
saucy if they
everybody
went
got
into it.
yeah. I just hope we get like some sort of clarification on that front. Because I think about in Alice in Wonderland, the dog that's in service to the Red Queen. The only reason he is because like she has all of his kids, like all like 6 of them, and that like if he doesn't follow orders, she'll kill them.
Oh,
And yeah, I just think about that sometimes, you know.
yeah. I read that book and I don't remember
So
that, but
it's in I remember it from the movie more than I remember it from the book,
oh,
to
so
be
maybe it was
honest,
just
because
in the
I just
movie.
it could have been in the book too. I don't remember. I just remember like from the movie, the grown up one. He's like this big bloodhound. That's really cute.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's in the one with Johnny Depp in it.
Oh, the Tim Burton.
Yeah, Tim Burton.
Okay.
So, anyways, during this battle, Edmund destroys the witch's wand and almost dies, but Lucy heals him with her potion. So glad her potion got to come into it. Never uses her dagger, but it's fine. She could have used her dagger to cut off the lion's chains. I'm just realizing that because they were like not actual chains. I'm pretty sure it was just like rope.
Yeah, but the mice were in there in like 2 seconds anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, they like tried it first, but then she doesn't
Well,
think
they
about it, I
take the
guess. But
muzzle off, but not the
yeah.
rope, and then the mice
Yeah.
come.
Okay.
So maybe they just didn't. I don't know. To be fair, this is another traumatic event that happens to them, and they probably
Yeah,
aren't
that's
thinking
fine.
straight.
So Lucy goes around and heals a bunch of people after like she says to Aslan that she wants to stay there and make sure Edmund's okay.
Aslan gets
And Aslan's like,
Knight's Edmund too.
yeah. But before he does that, he says this whole thing where he's like, do we need more people to die on your brother's account? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I know, because she was like, "Is Edmund okay?" Like,
yeah.
move it, sister. Go.
Go heal kids.
Come on, get.
Yeah. So Lucy says he even looks better, and that he apparently the whole reason he turned terrible is because he went to this different school and he started like hanging out with the bad crowds. And she's like, he looks like before he did when he went there. So that's good.
Yep, always good.
Yeah. So the next day, Aslan decides to crown all of the rulers. And they go to they have a giant party. And then they notice during the party that Aslan leaves, and Mr. Beaver says that he comes and goes a lot because he doesn't like to stay tied down because he's a wild lion.
He has other countries to attend to.
Yeah. So this is the note where we get that they hunt down all the creatures and species that worked with the witch, and I'm like, okay. All right.
Yeah, maybe I'm curious to see if they go into that more in the other books because that's definitely kind of weird. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I do think that we just kind of skip over that part and we're killing people that maybe shouldn't.
Because like
I don't know.
They're just like assuming all of the species are evil, and I'm like, maybe we don't do that.
Let's assume that they've been put on trial. And
let's hope. I'm gonna hope. And then they also make this whole note about liberating young dwarfs and young satyrs from being sent to school. And I'm like, that seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, what? I know in the first episode I was like, shouldn't they be in school? First of all, I do think it's great for kids to play outside. I should amend that. But the second part,
it's fine.
Now we're just making sure that nobody goes to school.
I know. I'm like, why do we not want an educated country? Like, what? What are we doing?
It's a children's book. We're playing into
it's fine.
Into the interests of children, but man, that was funny to me.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope they take that back in a couple of years when they grow up, Like, this is why we shouldn't have, like, children rulers, but whatever.
But by this point, they're, like, almost grown.
Well, at the point where they made that decree, it would have been, like, beginning of rule, and now they're grown later on.
Right.
Because, like, now we're at the point that they're adults. They start, both of the girls are getting, like, marriage offers from, like, other countries.
Yep. And then they talk like kings and queens, and this part I could have done without. Honestly, the only part of the book where I was like, I don't agree with that decision.
Like, I don't mind the fact that they're grown up, but, like, don't make them talk like that. It's kind of dumb.
It's probably just to prove that they have aged, but...
I feel like it's supposed to be, like, a simplified version for kids that, they talk like adults now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, I was kind of like, okay, get to the point. What are you talking about? Because everything's so straightforward at that point, or prior to that point, that I'm like, what? Why are we talking like this?
I don't know. But then they have this white stag appear, who will give you wishes if you catch him.
So cute. So, what is the white stag? Yeah. What is the symbolism of the white stag? Let's look.
I don't know. I also think, like, I feel like I've seen that in a couple different, like, folklore-esque things.
Let's see. In general, it looks like it is about renewed spirit of adventure.
Okay.
In Celtic traditions, white stags represent messengers from the afterlife.
Oh.
Here's something. There's a theory that the stag was really Aslan in disguise, guiding them back to their world. Oh, I kind of like that.
That's cute.
Interesting. So kind of like an angel situation.
Yeah, not mad.
That's cute. Glad I looked that up. I didn't really catch that. I just kind of thought, interesting. Why are we granting wishes? Is this a genie?
Yeah. So, then they find the lantern, and they kind of, like, have forgotten that there was a before Narnia, which is interesting to me, because, like,
cute full circle moment. Cute full circle moment.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tumnus, now that he's old, telling him about the stag, I thought that was a good full circle moment, but also sad. It made me kind of sad.
Yeah. A little sad. And then,
they don't even recognize the lamppost either.
No, they don't. And, like, everybody's like, we should figure out what it is. And then Susan's like, let's go back home. Like, she does not want to go. She does not want to figure it out.
Freaking Susan! Oh my gosh. You just had a wonderful, beautiful life in Narnia, and the whole time you talked about going home.
Yeah.
And then you didn't even recognize the lamppost.
No.
Also, I have to know, did they ever find the fur coats?
No. Because we get that noted at the end.
And is it offensive to wear a fur coat when you're friends with, like, beavers and things?
I would think so, personally.
I don't know. Those are some questions I'd like answered.
Yeah. And then when they go through the wardrobe again, though, they all tumble out and no time has passed at all. And, like, I don't know about you, but that to me is, like, particularly haunting.
Yeah, that freaks me out. It's only been, I think that some time has passed, because then it's the professor that comes and finds them when they were hiding from Miss McCready, I thought. Weren't they hiding from Miss McCready?
No. they make a note that no time has passed at all, that she just happens to skip over the room. Then they seek out the professor.
Oh, and then it's kind of a cute ending where he's like, what happened?
Yeah. And he's like, well, Narnia will find you again. It always remembers the king and queen. And I'm like, who are you?
He's the magician's nephew.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out about him whenever we get to that.
I'm reading in publication order, and I can't remember when that one comes out. Let me tell you. That would be the 6th of 7. 6 of 7. Okay. But technically, it's like the prequel to this book.
Yeah.
So if you were to read them in the chronological order, you would read Magician's Nephew first. But I'm reading in publication order, which I have read is the best way to read them the first time. But then if you read them again, to read them in chronological order. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, interesting.
We'll have to discuss that.
I know. We have a lot of things to talk about for the movie. We had a lot to talk about this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a good time. It was fun. Me too. It was a fun change of pace.
Yeah, did you like this book overall? What do you give it out of? Do you rate your books at the end?
I usually don't, but to me, for a kid's book that's still being enjoyable about as an adult, I'm going to give it like an 8 out of 10, you know?
Fair. I think it's nice, sweet. I think as a children's book goes, I'm going to give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Yeah, maybe like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
It depends on the level of reading, or like, I guess I should say the age of your kids that you're reading this to.
Yeah.
But so cute. I enjoyed it. I did not expect to enjoy it so much, to be honest.
Yeah, I had a good time. I did not think I was going to find it as easy to read as it is.
Yeah, this was very surprising to me. I had no idea they were so short until you had asked me to do this. Yeah. And then I was like, oh.
And like for a modern reader, there's only like a couple of hiccups I noticed, you know.
Yeah, I think
that don't age well.
It's aged decently well for how old it. Yeah, for how old it is. This is what, like a 73-year-old book. Wait.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, that's
I think a lot of things have aged worse. So
definitely. It's cute. I like it. I'm excited to talk about the movie with you.
Yeah. And then if you want to hear me, Nova, and maybe Allison, we'll see, talk about the rest of the series, make sure to follow Novel Nostalgia wherever you get your pods, and you will see us discuss this entire series at some point.
I'm very excited.
Probably in the winter. Yeah. But we will catch you all in the next episode. Bye!
Bye!